The connection that humans have to water is defined not only by the water that we use, but by how we accept and act on the responsibility we share to ensure the health of waterways and sustainability of freshwater resources. Water is essential to all life on Earth, and today we face a crisis regarding the access and abundance of fresh water quality degradation from runoff, and overconsumption. All over the world, maritime communities have expanded into urbanized marine cities. As the populations expand in these regions, the built environment must expand to meet the needs of the public. The runoff from buildings, roads, sidewalks, and other impermeable surfaces has devastating effects on water quality, and the growing demand for fresh water in areas where freshwater resources are diminishing poses very serious problems that are in need of solutions. In Baltimore, Maryland, a 285-year-old city in the heart of the Chesapeake Bay with an aged and deteriorating storm and wastewater infrastructure and an ever-expanding urban population, there has never been a more pressing time for action to ensure the safety and prosperity of the local waterways and freshwater resources of this historic city. This is why the stormwater remediation fee was passed by Maryland's legislature as a part of a larger solution to water quality degradation caused by stormwater runoff. For this project, I explored and researched the impact of stormwater runoff on water quality, the effectiveness of the stormwater remediation fee as a solution to the impact, the connectivity of the people of Baltimore to their waterways, and the ultimate responsibility that Baltimore City and marine cities across the globe have towards limiting their negative influence on the health of the water and environment. In my photos, I wanted to show some of the many ways that Baltimore is directly connected with its water resources. On drains all over the city, the Chesapeake Bay Foundation, one of the main advocates in the fight for clean water, stenciled messages indicating that all runoff going into the drains goes directly to the Chesapeake Bay. In the top left of this photo is a painting of a ship on a park wall. The ship is the USS Constellation. One of my photos is taken from the deck of this ship. Early in the history of the Port of Baltimore, the port was used for the shipping of textiles, clothing, and other goods, most of which were produced using hydropower mills. Hydropower led to immense economic growth and created more jobs as a result. People's lives were intrinsically and instrumentally tied to the water. Trade goods were transported downstream to the Port of Baltimore, where they were loaded onto sailing vessels. With the introduction of steam in the Industrial Revolution, the need for hydropower to run mills was replaced, as were sails, by steam power. This marked the beginning of a paradigm shift in the human connectivity to water resources. Today, Baltimore is still a major port, but the vast majority of the population surrounding the city does not directly depend on the waterways to make a living, and this disconnect has led to a lack of accountability for the health of local rivers and streams. When looking at Baltimore, Maryland, you see a city that has gone through immense population expansion that was made possible through the development of one of the world's best freshwater systems. With a sustainable water supply and all of the populace living near the many tributaries leading to the Patuxent River that feeds into the largest estuary in North America, the city stands out as a place where effective water resource management must be done to ensure the health of all waterways and keep fresh water sustainable. How this iconic city's Department of Public Works provides high-quality drinking water to some 1.8 million customers is a feat that merits the stormwater fee on the impervious surfaces of property owners because of how great of a system it is. This water supply is a major reason for the urbanization and expansion of Baltimore. Yet even in a place with fresh water security, there is a need for action to be taken. In a city that has stood the test of time, there is a looming crisis under the streets. The deteriorating storm and wastewater infrastructure of Baltimore is a threat to the Patuxent River and the Chesapeake Bay. The stormwater remediation fee is a solution to this problem. It is a fee on property owners' impermeable surfaces that rain runs off of. The reason for this fee is because the rain picks up contaminants along the way and eventually brings them to the Chesapeake Bay. It is a fee created as an incentive for taxpayers to implement solutions on their property to receive tax breaks, but primarily the fee is necessary to generate funds to fix the archaic infrastructure of Baltimore City. In Baltimore, the stormwater and wastewater infrastructure is deteriorating because out of 4,000 miles of water mains, the majority are at least 70 years old, and thus an average of 3 water main breaks occur every day. The cost of fixing the infrastructure of Baltimore is budgeted at $3 billion over the next 6 years. The only way to pay for this massive expense is through taxation and fees. This fee is surrounded by contention because people don't want to pay for the byproduct of a natural process of taking contaminants into waterways because of their impervious surfaces. What many are unwilling or unable to realize and accept is the true price we will have to pay if nothing is done to save the bay from our impermeable influence. Some solutions to reducing stormwater runoff include the installation of cisterns to collect the rainwater for household uses, redirecting home gutter systems to permeable zones like rain gardens or rain barrels, creating permeable driveways and sidewalks, making roof gardens, or implementing green buffer zones around impermeable surfaces to absorb some of the rainwater. This fee is an attempt to promote property owners to implement these kinds of solutions on their property. However, it is projected as an injustice to the taxpaying public instead of an incentive for change. What is the future of the stormwater remediation fee? And if it is repealed, what will be the true cost to the health of the Chesapeake? The city of Baltimore is just one example of what is happening all over the world. Urbanized marine communities have devastating effects on the waterways by which they reside, and if we don't do something about it, it will be too late. Maryland provides an example of how to address this call for change, to save the water, to save ourselves, and to move on to brighter days.